Win big with new DRF All Access past performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all three past performance formats. Go to DRF.com and use coupon code ONEFREEPP for a free single card today.
Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look back at the Pegasus World Cup at Gulfstream Park on January the 27th, going 1 1/8 miles. National Treasure, very impressive. We break from the gate. Keep an eye on National Treasure. He is the number 7, and as usual, he shows his good early speed. He has to be aggressive. That's his best running style. Hoist the gold, the Cigar Mile winner. No surprise under John Velasquez. He tries to beat him to the lead. He does. They go fast, and National Treasure is undaunted.
I just like the fact that National Treasure, I mean, it's pretty clear leaving the gate that Flavien Prat wanted the lead with National Treasure. And once he didn't get it, I just like that they sort of back off just a little bit. This pace is fast for the first half mile in particular. And Prat's just going to back off. He's going to sit a clear second tracking a horse. So I feel like he always kind of knew he was going to beat. He just sits there and then he comes for him around the final turn. And you'll see how easily he takes this race over off the quarter pole.
And they're going a legitimate pace, 23.18 seconds for the opening quarter. Then they threw down another 23.14 second quarter. And National Treasure is always running comfortably. Hoist the gold well off the rail here. Senor Buscador, the number 6, is eventually going to rally for second. He'll get into the picture. But right here, National Treasure is still just swinging on the outside.
Yeah, he's just going very strongly here. He's going to walk up on Hoist the Gold right now. And again, he's just going to take over very easily off the quarter pole here. You're going to see Senor Buscador in a minute here getting what I thought was a really good closer's trip from Junior Alvarado, because he's making his run around the turn. He's not all in yet, and he's also not going wide yet. He's going to get to save a lot of ground. He's going to get a clean run into the stretch here. And I don't know about you, I thought he had dead aim on National Treasure here through the stretch. That National Treasure would not let him get into it.
Thought he had a winner right here, Senor Buscador and Junior Alvarado, but just as we saw in the Preakness and as we saw in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, when narrowly denied by Horse of the Year Cody's Wish, National Treasure just finds a little bit more, and he is able to just get to the wire in front of a hard-charging Senor Buscador. I thought this was a tremendous race from National Treasure, running hard from start to finish. He wins it for Baffert, and Prat earns a 105 buyer.
It's just a really good performance because the pace was fast and he wasn't able to control things. Although you could argue that he was just sort of kind of controlling it from second. But listen, you see where Senor Buscador came from. You see where Krupe came from, who finished a well clear in third. These horses were way out of contention up the backstretch in this race, while National Treasure was sitting up close. His pace was fast and he did all the hard work.
While that lifetime record of 3 wins from 11 starts doesn't seem impressive, I think if you break apart National Treasure's past performances, you could say that he was dirtied up perhaps going into the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, where after the Preakness, a race where he was very game over a weak field, he ran really well in the Belmont on a fast pace, going 1.5 miles before tiring, then catching wet tracks in the Travers and Awesome again. And since then, he's been very, very good.
Yeah, no, I agree with all that stuff. I mean, it's kind of the points that we were making leading into this Pegasus World Cup, Dad. I mean, this horse won a classic 3-year-old race last year. In my opinion, it might have been the worst race he ran as a 3-year-old. I liked everything else that he did last year, including the Dirt Mile, which was kind of a breakthrough performance, I thought, and he backed it up very, very well here.
Baffert says he's going to skip Saudi and Dubai, give this horse a little bit of a break and remain in the United States. We'll talk a little bit about the rest of the field. Senor Buscador, the runner-up, again, it looked like he was a winner turning for home. He had all of the momentum. Junior Alvarado gave this horse a great ride, as you mentioned. This is an underrated horse who just seems to fire at the very end of his races. It looks like he'll go to Saudi, where he'll get a 1-turn 1.8 miles, and I think that might hit him right between the eyes.
Yeah, if you get throw some pace in front of him too. That's what he really, really wants, because he doesn't have a lot of early speed. But you're right, Dan. He's very consistent. He always shows up. He's, I don't know, multiple grade 1 place now. He hasn't really broken through at that level yet. And it did kind of feel like he had a real shot to do it. I watched this Pegasus World Cup back then, and I think, what would have happened if this race was run at any other track besides Gulfstream Park, where speed just tends to hold on, and this horse just couldn't quite get there.
Krupe continues to mature and continues to get better with each and every start for Todd Pletcher. I thought Frankie Dettori did all he could do with Krupe, breaking from post position 11, eventually getting up for third. I still think this horse is going to be a factor, maybe even in races like the Suburban down the road.
Yeah, he wants distance. He is getting better. I mean, listen, he did get a big piece of this purse. He was never a real threat to win it, as Senior Buscador was. But at the flip side of that is this horse was wide all the way around the final turn, while Senior Buscador was not. This horse ran fine in here. It just happened not to be a real factor getting third.
Hoist the Gold, the winner of the Cigar Mile in gate-to-wire fashion over a wet and probably speed-favoring track. He did his best here. He went to the lead. That was probably his best chance to win. The distance was too far, and National Treasure is just a better horse. For him to hold on to fourth probably says two things. A, the rest of the field didn't do a lot of running in the stretch, and B, he ran pretty well.
Yeah, I'll agree with both those. I mean, listen, they rode him the only way that they could have ridden him in this race if they wanted to be successful, and it just didn't really work out. And you're right, though, Dad. I mean, it kind of feels like just being at Gulfstream maybe helped him more than anything else, because when you go back and watch that replay, they got to the quarter pole, this horse was all done, and he did not run through the stretch, and the only horses that caught him were Senior Buscador and Krupe.
Paco Lopez put O'Connor in a pretty nice spot on the backstretch. And for a brief moment at about the 3/8 pole, it looked like he was going to run a little bit. And then he started drifting out a bit in the stretch and finished evenly for fifth. I think these horses are a little too tough for him. He's a nice, honest grade 2, grade 3 type.
Yeah, that's probably true. I did like the run that he made around the final turn. It briefly looked like he was going to threaten. As it turned out, he was really no match. I didn't really like the way he finished in this race at all. And listen, maybe he's just not top class, but there's probably a race or two for him down the line.
Now, First Mission came into this race as the second choice, slight second choice behind National Treasure, both at 5-2. He had come into this horse, and again, his reputation sort of had exceeded what he had accomplished on the racetrack. Everyone was always thinking, what would happen when First Mission finally became First Mission? Well, he disappointed here.
He really did. And you're right, though. I mean, you could see the potential was there for him, but he hadn't really accomplished anything of great significance on the track, and there was an injury involved. So you have to take that into account. This horse just got outpaced, or this pace was too fast for him. They put him on the chase, and he just could never get into it. He was working hard from a long way out in here, Dan. He could not gain any ground, and he was no factor at the end.
Skippy Longstocking had to be pulled up after breaking from the far outside post, just had to be hustled into the race from out of there, considering his running style was on a very hard chase behind Hoist the Gold and National Treasure. He was pulled up, but Safi Joseph said he was just overheated. He'll likely be okay to race, and maybe we'll see him in a spot like the Charlestown Classic again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that they got aggressive with him from the gate again. When you draw that far outside post, going this distance at Gulfstream, it's basically a death sentence. And they did what they could. They tried to just send him out of there and get forward, and it didn't work out.
Did you see any trips or anything from any of the other horses in this race that make you think they ran a little bit better than their running line looks?
No, I didn't see that from any, but I thought for the most part, these were clean trips. If you want to give, some extra credit to horses that were up close, Trademark comes to mind, maybe Nimitz Class, who just got outrun early in here and couldn't keep up. If you want to give them extra credit because the pace was too fast for them, have at it. I didn't really see anybody coming out of this race with big excuses to be had.
The National Treasure was close to that fast pace, and he was game at the wire. And we take a look at the prices for the Pegasus World Cup. He returned $720 to win. Senor Buscador, very honest horse, rallying for the place. He paid $720 to place. He'll go to Saudi. Krupe third for Todd Pletcher at a big number. It was 7-6-11 in the Pegasus World Cup. Preakness winner National Treasure prevailed.